if somebody gets robbed or somebody gets shot or something like that, like, I'm not going to fit a description. You know what I mean? Like, nobody's going to be like, it was him, you know, like, we saw him do it, you know, like, because, like, you know where I was. Like, I stand out pretty, like, obvious. So it's like, I have, like alibis for, you know, all the time. They think black people are really cool. So, you know.
But not in a problematic way. Not like, give me 5.
I mean, there was one dude who wanted to give me a fist bump. He was like, yo. And like, I just ignored him. I was like, he must not be talking to me. Anyways. But it was like really nice. Like, I felt like
It sounds like you almost didn't have to worry about it as much as when
really
you're over here.
I really didn't.
Maybe like you're more politicized over here.
Yeah, I think so.
Welcome to What's My Thesis. I'm your host, Javier Proenza. Every week, my guests and I share the answers we found to the questions we have. Join us as we explore and expand our worldview and ask what's my thesis. And today, my guest is Gozie Ojini, and we're hanging out here at Montevista Projects. Lucy Wood Briard is the artist whose sculptures you can see in the space. It's a really beautiful show. And yeah, man, we're here to have a conversation with an artist. I've had you on the show before.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad to be back. I appreciate you, like, you know, reaching out and trying to, you know, make it happen. So.
No worries, man. Dude, I feel like we have a very fun dynamic. Sometimes I like the way people react to me, you know?
Okay.
It makes me feel like I'm seen in a specific way, you know. But I always feel like you're a very warm guy. And the other thing that I relate to you is that, like, back when I was around your age, I was the guy that always had like beautiful women always around him. And I think that that's a very good sign of like a dude that is very like emotionally in check.
Oh, got you. I mean, I've been around
platonic friendships.
Well, yeah, being around, like, you know, raised by my mom and like you know, my older sister, a lot of females around. But you know, I guess that's definitely shaped how I like approach friendships and like meeting people and like try to be a gentleman, like my.
But you're like, you got a gentle vibe to you that I think that is like magnetic, and that's kind of that's the essence of like.
That's cool.
Like you're an accepting person, and we met doing a show together, right? We met doing the one.
Yeah, it was the Kamikaze.
MIM was the gallery, I think, and then Kamikaze was put together by the gentleman, I think Habib. I forget his last name. Who does 551 next door? That's his space. But,
right.
But yeah, man. So what you've been up to? Last time we talked, you had done some stuff, and you had gone to CERN. That was really interesting.
Yeah, I went to CERN with some friends, and we kind of like we were trying to go down like 100 meters down into the actual experiments, but like there was some stuff that kind of messed it up. It's partially my fault, just not planning like completely. But definitely want to go back again. But since then, you know, I went to Korea for about 3 months, and like just kind of like was experiencing like life in another country, which, you know, is kind of rare.
Was that the first time you've done that?
Well, just like for that long, yeah.
For that long? How long were you there?
I was there for 3 months. Yeah. And I had to quarantine for 14 days, and like, you know, back when the restrictions were like really intense. Yeah. But I've been like, since being back from Korea, like I had a show. Actually, it's in this building. It's
at Inlu, right?
At Inlu Gallery. It's on the 9th floor of the Bendix building. Y'all should check it out. There's 2 shows in that space. There's a show called The Object of My Object by Niuda. Mm-hmm. She's a painter, really like incredible work also in that show. And like, yeah, we kind of sharing like the 2 spaces that are in that gallery, having like 2 solo shows.
Nice.
So yeah.
Those can vibe pretty well sometimes.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like having another sort of audience come and see your work. It's actually, it's really valuable.
Definitely. Yeah. So tell me what's it like being back? What was Korea like? What were your thoughts?
I mean, yeah, it was my first time in an Asian country. And
where else have you been to?
I've been to Nigeria a
Okay.
couple times.
Which is
and-
where Ojini comes from?
Yeah, it's yeah.
Your last name?
Yeah, it's Igbo, but it's like
Igbo is what?
Igbo is one of the like main tribes in or main like dialects in Nigeria. It's kind of like split up but together at the same time. But
Are you your parents are immigrants?
yeah, well, my dad is.
Your dad is?
Yeah,
Okay.
and my mom is from a long line of Black Americans. But,
Okay.
yeah, my dad is an immigrant. He came here when he was like 24.
Whoa.
Yeah, very young, to get like a degree in mathematics.
Wow.
Yeah, very practical, like very much like American dream kind of
Nice.
vibe. Yeah,
Like academic track or?
academic. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's basically.
right now he's a teacher.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is very American dream of a very specific generation too.
Yeah, yeah.
Is he a boomer or is he Gen X?
I
don't know.
I don't know if he's like, I think those kind of like titles more pertain to people who were like born in the U.S., don't you think? Or
Yeah,
or is
I
it
just
more-
meant you're 100% correct. Because baby boomer specifically
It's
refers
like
to the boom of like birth here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But-
I think I don't know. How old is he? He's almost 70 years old. I don't even know
Okay,
how
so
old my dad is.
around
Like,
there, around there.
I don't know how old he is.
I didn't mean to call out your dad's age.
It's all good.
Your dad's old, man.
Yeah.
Mine is too. Apparently, he broke his leg in this really dramatic fashion, and my mom was describing it. I was like, I don't want to know.
Yeah, yeah.
She was like, it's one of those where it like, and I was like, nope, stop.
No.
Okay, you've been to Nigeria. You've been to other places.
Switzerland.
Switzerland?
And
Okay.
London. I mean, Switzerland for CERN, and then like London on the way back from layovers and
Yeah,
different
yeah,
But actually spending a substantial amount of time somewhere. This is like the first time, and it's a city just like I was in Seoul. I was in like Itaewon, which is where the U.S. Navy base is. So U.S. military base, I should say. So it's like there's still an expat community there. So I was able to like, go places and still see like people who spoke English.
Okay.
And get adjusted in that way. And people would, give me English menus and stuff like. So I was able to adjust in that way. But I also, like while I was in quarantine, I took like a class, like a free Korean language course, and I got to learn like kind of just like basics of Korean. I don't know how many weeks it was. It was like only a few weeks, but I learned kind of really basic stuff and was able to like, introduce myself, and I learned how to order food and different things like that, like by practicing and stuff.
So it wasn't like, because I traveled a lot as a kid, but I had only traveled to places where that either spoke English, Spanish, or Italian. And then the first time I was in France, I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, like what are you gonna do? Yeah,
It was like, I thought I was such a cultured and well-adjusted traveler. I was just in safe spots.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this was definitely out of the comfort zone, and like, but it was something where like, I had to get like an Airbnb that I liked so that I would feel a little more comfortable.
Oh, really?
Because
Like-
places are really small.
Okay.
So like you could go somewhere like, and it could be affordable, but it'll be like really tiny, like by American standards. And then like you kind of like I went to a place that was a little bit larger and lived with somebody, like a host, and it was like it's just something that I needed to do for myself, but it was definitely more expensive than I hoped it to be. And like what else? I mean, the food is amazing.
Yeah.
Like I thought I liked it's also interesting how much food like that's not Korean food that was like so bomb over there. Like I had like probably the best hamburger I've ever had in Korea. I've had like Thai food that's like I thought I liked LA Thai food. This is like next level Thai food. And like Indian food too.
Really?
Like really good Indian food.
So it's just the proximity to Asia and
I think so.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. And like there's also a lot of immigrants in Korea too. Like there's Nigerians in Korea, there's Ethiopians and Ghanaians.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of people who are going there because I guess it also has like this sort of like capitalist potential. like, at least South Korea, it's like everybody is like, there's like kind of, I hesitate to like, sort of like
Characterize it as
it's like, it's kind of like when somebody comes to LA from another state and is like, LA is just so like this and like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, you don't know what LA is about. I've been living here forever. Like, you don't know anything.
How long have you been living here? Did you grow up here?
I was born here.
Maybe we could talk a little bit about what LA is like. I like the gatekeeper in there. Emotion came out there.
Yeah, I mean, like
I've not seen you make this face.
I don't know what it is. It's like whenever somebody from out of town says something like, describing or like, judging LA.
No, I got that, but I'm saying like, what do you think LA is like? I mean, because one of the things that I love about LA is when you watch those movies like Pulp Fiction, where it's like all this crazy shit is happening, or even shows like Snowfall, where it's like you could be walking around, but everything is so suburban and spread out that like at any given spot of LA, some crazy shit is going down. Yeah. Like someone in a gimp suit gets hit by a car, kind of thing. I mean, that's the extreme, but you get what I'm saying. Is that like a wrong perception of LA in your opinion?
Well, I think it's like a sensationalizing of,
because Miami's kind of like that though. So maybe that I'm projecting Miami.
I don't know much about Miami. I have one friend from Miami.
Okay.
But I don't know
are we not friends?
I have two friends from Miami. Yeah. That's my bad. But yeah, I think that like those kind of stories are like what you see in the media or like movies and stuff like that. Has some sort of like sense of truth into it, but it's like also it's a fabrication. It's a story, that they're selling. So it's gonna be like sensational, and like even the news is similar in that way. But like I think that like LA is just like a lot of like just normal people living their life and like like just having their own sort of LA life that doesn't seem so like crazy and like full of parties and adventure. Like there's just kind of people trying to survive.
Yeah.
But people come here to like find themselves or like to like sort of reinvent themselves and stuff, and like that sort of like becomes what people think LA is about. Mm-hmm. I remember there was this commercial about LA. It was like, a comeback story. And it was like, I was like, okay, like that's just like, I don't know. It was like, it felt like it was like inviting people here, but like not necessarily portraying any of the actual people who live here.
Yeah, definitely. Like as if out-of-towners living the dream are essentially are what LA is about, as opposed to like, and just completely erasing the people that live here. Yeah.
And that's kind of what's happening. I mean, like there's like this building that's like just sprouted up on the corner of Pico and Crenshaw. It's like, I mean, it's just like, I don't know how many, 5 stories or something like that. Yeah. And like, it's just going to be empty for maybe another like 5-10 years. And like, maybe there's going to be like 2 or 3 residents of that building. And then the building will get sold to somebody else. It's just kind of like real estate kind of
thing. The real estate hustle. Yeah. Something's got to be done about that, dude.
Yeah. And like transient, no, not transient. I should say like people
displaced.
Yeah, that are coming like, and like making the price of things more expensive.
Yeah.
Making the housing more expensive. It's kind of like, it definitely displaces people like that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, they're making a thing in my neighborhood where it's like they're putting in a soccer field, which is like a turf field, which is great, but like you just know it's not for the residents. It's for the people that they want to entice to come in.
I see.
And they make a bunch of different things. But that's interesting because I do feel like there is a lot of like I've definitely been in relationships out here with people that are like it's essentially it's like there's the LA community and then there's the expat community, right? Like, I mean, I'm not from here, and so I definitely know people from here that are intermixed with both society, but I think on the West Side, you just have a lot of people that moved out here for jobs, not even like trying to be in an industry like film, or maybe they are, but they're not like actors or,
Right. They're not aspiring.
but they're still industry people and they still like exist in this like very specific like ecosystem that exists here and maybe gives the impression that it's like more of like, cause I don't know any actors, like, do you? Maybe.
I think I know. Well, actually, I'm kind of an actor.
Oh, my bad. Like, so I guess I was wrong. My whole thing was wrong.
I mean, like, I think that, in a way, like I should bring up that part, like of being in a film or something. But like, because there's something like, how do I say? Like, I'm implicated too, it's not, I don't mean like, well, I'm just saying, because, I'm not trying to say that like people from out of town are just like these, You're not
a xenophobe.
Yeah. It's like, they're just the facts of what's happening, But I don't know. People have to eat. People have to live, and people like coming here. Yeah, like you said, just to make a better, have a better living, and like in a way, that's like what my dad did. And like, what is that? Is that wrong? Like, I don't know, but yeah, I feel like I don't know I don't have the answers.
Yeah, I mean, we're literally in a building that you could argue has some like displacing properties as well, right? It's an artist community, but I think there's also like, it's in the middle of the fashion district, so there's like, these could be something else. They could be like factories, these rooms. So, I mean, I'm not shading the Bendix. I'm saying there's always that like complicity. Yeah. I'm absolving you because I'm definitely part of like, I definitely have to interact with that on some level, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I love the Bendix and I love this place. Like, this is amazing. I'm happy to be a part of it. But it comes with its gray areas.
Yeah,
like you can't be like there's, I mean, I don't know. It's like they're invisible to me to some degree, but I'm sure they're victims to my participating in here in some level, right? Like there has to be, or just me even being American. Now we're getting real fucking meta.
Yeah.
But anyway, I want to get back into like, I don't want to talk xenophobia and gentrification so much.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, like, we've resolved that.
All right,
like everybody's bad.
Yeah, right.
Like, you don't have to feel so bad. No, and acting, I do like the DIY aspect. Like, look, I keep saying this, is that I like LA is a great place because I did an open call and I like accepted everybody that submitted. It's like there is a gravitating that people do towards here that is beneficial directly to me too. So, I mean, yeah, but I totally understand like, sort of wanting to be like protect or wanting people to be sensitive of or respectful at the very least of the working people that live here and make the city run you can get your espresso and shit.
Exactly. Yeah, don't talk shit about LA.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the moral of the story. But anyways.
So tell me about acting, man. Are you
I just was like a physical actor in a short film that my friend made.
What does physical actor mean?
Like I had a full bodysuit on and like it was like almost like a Halo stormtroopers like suit that I was wearing. Like
they CGI'd you out?
No, I just didn't. I didn't. There wasn't any like
your face,
my face or anything.
You didn't
my
know
skin
any
or
physical
nothing.
face acting. You
nothing.
did
Nothing. It was just all like
there was no
me
subtlety.
Walking and moving and like so like you can call that acting if you.
No, for sure.
It's
for
like
sure,
a
for sure.
kind of like stunt double acting with no stunt double. With no. Yeah.
So what was the project?
It was my friend Norm. He made this short film. He's kind of like trying to do more like narrative film. Like he's more like he used to do like a lot of like contemporary art film, like art movies and stuff.
Like Schnabel kind of.
I don't know. It's like Schnabel. I think you have to look it up.
Okay. I mean, not like directly, but I'm saying like the idea of like non-narrative.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. like narrative, but like in a different way. Like it's like
not those like Baraka movies where it's just like music and visuals. Do you remember that? Like, do you know about those? Tiwakatsi or some shit like that. There was a bunch of them.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
There was like in the early 2000s, there was like a trend of movies that were just like time-lapse footage of things, of culturally significant things, like Tokyo or whatever.
I see.
And then, or like
people
monks
walking across the...
Yeah, exactly. You know, but it was
crosswalk.
like, I don't know. They were good. I'm not shitting on them.
No, it's not like that. It's something else. It's more complex than that. But anyways, he's now trying to do more like... So this project was called The Impersonator, and like it's like him... It's like his story of like this, Hollywood Boulevard impersonator who kind of like dresses... You know how those people dress up as Joker or like Stormtrooper and then like breakdance and stuff like that? So it's like this guy who's like dressed like that, and that's his job, that he goes out there, and that's his kind of only livelihood. He like basically climbs over the Hollywood Hills every day to get to the Hollywood Boulevard. Like he sleeps in like in the river.
Okay.
And like, he's come to do his job, like just to kind of, he's just like, they don't know whether he's like a serial killer or not.
That's a fair thing, because I was gonna say those people can be kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's like people who want to like be famous really, really badly or something. But like, so something about it, it's like he's kind of listening to kind of like QAnon, podcast all day, walking around.
It's fascinating because I wanted to talk to you about QAnon today.
That's what I brought you. I have nothing to talk about for QAnon. Like,
I don't even really understand what that is. I don't know the lore of it. I know that it's like dumb, but anyway. So what's funny is that those guys, like, there have been people that, like, there was one guy that was a Freddy Krueger that had like real knives and stabbed a guy.
Oh my God, are you serious?
In LA. Yeah.
Oh my God.
So those guys, and I used to work at Pearl Art here in LA, and those people would come in to like buy costume supplies, and they were always very weird.
Oh my God. Anyways, it's like one of those guys, and like they're kind of interesting subjects, like nobody knows what they do. What, like, if you know one of those guys, like, hit us up, hit me up. I'm curious, but like, you don't really know what they do after, because they're just there for your entertainment. Like, they're just Superman for the day, and then you go home and like you forget that you took a photo with Superman on the, and you paid him like $5.
Well, that ties into what you were saying about LA being like, because that speaks to the touristy side of it,
right?
Too, right?
It's like and like it's like you got really close to a stranger. You don't even know who that guy is, So
it's almost like it's almost like people think that they're regulated in some way, but they're just like, it's wild stuff.
No,
and I'm sure there's turf wars, like Superman, Batman fighting over, like, hey man, this is my block.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, but so I was just kind of like physical actor in that short film.
All right, so you weren't the main trooper, but you were one of the...
I was the main character.
Oh, okay.
I'm the guy, yeah.
So then there was but it was more like third perspective instead of like you narrating the story.
Exactly. It's kind of like video game, like point of view, third person kind of thing.
Okay.
So, and a lot of it was shot from behind me.
Interesting.
But yeah.
And you were dressed as a stormtrooper? Because
I was dressed as like in a full, like, I'm like in riot gear pretty much. It's like I'm like it looked like there's even a helmet. Like, it was like amazing how they kind of like, got this suit to look like this, like, it looks like a hybrid. And that's one of the plot points. It's like, he's not really any kind of character. He's not really any, like,
he's not an IP.
Yeah, he's not
intellectual property for people that are not LA.
Yeah, and so he's kind of like, nobody knows what, like, he doesn't have any place in a way, nothing to reference. It's interesting. Anyways,
so, would you act again?
I would love to. It would be cool. It like I don't know if I think I'm too nervous for like in front of like camera. Like, like,
you're in front of cameras right now, bro.
I know, but like I'm trying to forget. I'm trying to pretend like I'm not. We're just right here. I think that if I was like if I was like a actor who actually had to show my face and show emotion, I think I would smile too much.
You would smile. Yeah.
I would just start laughing like for no reason.
Yeah, you could be like Jimmy Fallon.
Maybe. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe I'm a host. No. Yeah.
But yeah, so then let's get back into, because I'm still curious about your experience in Korea in terms of like when you came back. Was anything weird?
I mean, it was kind of this thing where I think the first thing, like event thing that I came to was here at Montevista Project. One of my friends had a show.
What show was that?
It was a group show. I don't know what the show was called, but my friend Brian Bowman was in the show.
Okay.
And he had like these cyanotypes on drywall that were
laid out here?
Yeah, stacked.
Yeah, okay. I saw that show, yeah. I forget what show it was.
Got you. Like coming back and, like there's people I know and I can talk to, and like I was like my social skills had been like lost because I only know like a few words in Korean.
Yeah.
So like there's not that many people I can talk to.
So you didn't go with your partner? You went by yourself?
I did with my partner. Okay. Yeah. But it's like being social in a group of people that mostly speak Korean. It's kind of like tough.
You're left
like,
out.
A little bit, but then like sometimes I can come in and like I can sense when I can like crack a joke or something. So it's not too hard. It's like but it's something different when you come back and like everyone is kind of like everyone speaks like quickly and like fluently, and you have to sort of like be punchy and in there. You got to be like.
So your timing was off. You weren't as funny.
Yeah. So you have a little bit. You have grace period when you're in Korea. It's like you can be like. You can wait for that moment and like let it,
and then you seem like a genius. You drop the mic and you're like, "That's it. That's all my Korean." And also the expectations are lower to be able to make a joke in a language.
Yep.
Yeah. So like it's like watching a cat do a trick or something.
Exactly. Yeah. pretty much. Oh my God! What did he just say? He just spoke Korean. Anyways.
So you didn't experience culture shock other than just being like, just having been used to, but there was no moment where you were like, man, they do that better in Korea.
I mean, I told you about the food. Like, the food is incredible.
But it's not
I mean, they don't have tacos in Korea, so it's like that's something like you can't compete with. But
so it sounds like the culture shock was mild because sometimes
it wasn't. Yeah, it's a city. It's a city too, and it's like there's like a lot of people. Like I think like I got to drive, which is nice. Driving is everything. You got to do taxi all the time in Korea, and it's expensive. But it's nice to get back and like drive my own car.
Yeah. So it sounds like you were more homesick than like, hey man, I've acclimated here and now I'm suffering culture shock when I come back to the U.S. No.
I will go back for a year, and like that's gonna be like, I feel like
you've got a plan.
Yeah, I got a plan to go back in August,
and then you're from August to August.
Yeah, pretty much.
Damn, I'm lucky I got you before that.
I know, right? And I think that it will be like, I think that will be more of a shock because I think I will get more adjusted. I think now, and like it's not like I come back and like everything like I'm better than you. Like no, it's just another place I visited. But this was like 3 months goes by pretty fast. It seems like it was a long time, but it actually. A lot of people I talked to, they were like, "Oh, you're back already!" Like,
3 months can be interminable when you're living in your own city, though.
Exactly. 3 months here is like,
especially depending on what year in the last 2 years we're talking about. Yeah. Cool. I mean, I've always wanted to go to Korea. I imagine I have such a very it's interesting what they did with the Korean wave, where they're like, because when I was a kid, right, it was Japanese stuff that was like the shit. I mean, manga and anime are still cool, but like they're nowhere near as big as like K-pop and all of that stuff. And I think that I heard someone say on a podcast that it was because like Korea did it by design, that they were like, they wanted to get out there. And like, but now it's like, it's taking over other cultures, it's like huge in Vietnam. It's huge in other,
I see.
you know.
I mean, I think that like, Like
It's just amazing how a country like that can strategize. Like it seems very capitalist and very savvy in that way in terms of like promoting, you know, Samsung as a big global company. Like they're doing an amazing job, you know. Like
I see. I mean, I was gonna say like I think Japan is like they're like the sort of prototype for if anything, you know, they're kind of like.
but they were more protective with their IPs.
I guess I'm just saying that like, you know.
You're an
I
anime
don't know.
kid, aren't you?
I grew up with a lot of cartoons.
Okay. Yeah,
but
yeah. No,
like
fair enough.
that,
Fair
it's
enough.
like, but I see what you're talking about the strategy of it too, because like I talk about this with my partner and like a lot of other people, a lot of like other Korean friends, a lot like this sort of like how Japan like sort of strategized to like, you know, with their media to become more like cute and like like how to like sort of like submissive and like a little bit more like there's like a media strategy to
Be coy.
yeah, you know, just to change the
Like
image.
Hello Kitty, that kind of thing. Yeah.
And even like you know Dragon Ball Z or like I think that like it's a little bit different, but I still feel like that sort of like image changing to like become something that like isn't evil and that isn't like attached to like
their imperialist period.
yeah to
So
the
you're
Nazis,
talking about
like World War and, like,
you're
World
talking
War
about like inner Asian PR.
right yeah
Look, because I mean, I don't think that out here in the U.S. we think of that part of them that much. You know?
we're not really
We're like, we
people
bombed
not
them, we're
thinking about
done.
it. Not thinking about that much but
But I
like,
know that there's a lot of tension between Korea and Japan because of like some awful stuff that happened during that period, which we don't really think about over here. So that makes sense what you're saying.
yeah
Yeah.
we were just like gonna watch this show called Pachinko. It's kind of like talking about that, like in this. It's like this show on Apple TV or something. It's like about like
It's a documentary, or
yeah, it's a film. It's like a series.
okay.
But it's kind of like, you know, travels that sort of like time period of like the after the Japanese-Korean War and like that kind of like the tension between the two countries and the occupation, the Japanese occupation of Korea, and like and then also the sort of after effects of it, like this sort of like they sort of like how do I say transition between these two generations, and it's kind of a cool story. But I've only seen like one episode of it, but it's like really well done. Almost looks it's like a series that looks like a movie. It's really
Cool.
great.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
But a lot of media is not like media nowadays. Sort of like trying to uncover all those kind of like those like contentious parts of our history.
Yeah.
Without kind of like stabbing you with it or like beating you over the head with it, like showing how there's multiple sides to the arguments and stuff like that, but like still uncovering those histories, which I think is cool.
They had some pretty intense stuff that they did too, right? Like they would like put, like kidnap the father of a family and then implant somebody else, or is that, am I confusing that? Anyway, actually I shouldn't delve into this. I mean, forget I said that. I'm trying to paraphrase something that I heard someone say.
Gotcha.
And I might have said something incredibly offensive, so I'm sorry.
I don't know. I don't
want to touch that. But anyway, I'm backtracking. But well, the reason I think of it, my perception of it is a little bit different, is because like there was a period. How old are you?
I'm like 26.
26, is that Gen Z? Or is that millennial?
I'd say millennial.
Okay, I don't know. I asked because I don't know, not because I'm like trying to catch you. Gotcha. Oh no, that technically it's the no. So like okay, but I mean I do have like a good 5 years. Is that 6 years on you? So I remember the 80s a little bit differently. Or a little bit more as like there was movies like Black Rain with Michael Douglas and all this like stuff, like Japanese culture was like we all thought Japan was gonna take over the world. And I have a very
Like they're the coolest.
Yeah, they were the coolest, but also they were the most dominant in technology. Sony was the shit, you know. Like
I see.
and there was I think it was like some movie with Wesley Snipes about like there was a sci-fi movie about how Japan, like all of this was like projected, you know, Nakatomi Plaza from Die Hard, all of that, like that. There was a big cultural thing, and I feel like that's kind of died down. I mean, yeah, they have and I don't think that we look at Korea as the future the same way that we looked at Japan back then, as this like technological marvel. This is American culture. I'm not like speaking to whether or not it was valid, but like I do feel like as someone who doesn't, I mean, I know manga and anime and all of that stuff is very popular. I didn't grow up on Dragon Ball, so that's fair enough. And a lot of stuff, you know, like there's the Avatar, The Last Airbender. That's all stuff that's made to emulate that like kind of aesthetic. So I probably understated the impact of Japanese culture, but I had never heard of Korea growing up the way that I hear about them now. Does that make sense?
Got you.
You know, like they have done like such a crazy push to like, so it's interesting. Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's almost, you know, you hear the stories of the pop stars that are like talking about being abused and whatnot. Like it's like it's kind of I feel like their industries as ambitious as ours. You know, like our Hollywood is like very cutthroat.
Yeah.
You know, like or things like, I mean, I don't think that, I don't know. Maybe it's just fascinating to me to see how hard they're working it.
I feel you. I mean, like, yeah, like
where like people are claiming exhaustion or like, you know.
Yeah, and like a lot of like female pop stars are kind of like, you know, being mistreated and like kind of like, you know, by the media, but like, you know, they're also supposed to be like this hypersexualized, but also innocent. Yeah, you know, at the same time. And it's
out of my cultural appetites entirely.
Gotcha.
So as an outsider, it's like I'm not. I used to think anime and all that stuff was cool. Akira was awesome, but there's just a whole generation of people that fucking are so much more into it than I've ever been.
Yeah, I see.
You know,
I guess I'm part of that like generation who's like really into that stuff.
Yeah.
I could talk about that stuff all day. Honestly.
So like, what's your favorite? I'm not bashing it.
Well,
I
mean, no, it's just my partner's here and she knows that I watch One Piece a lot. So it's
One Piece. What's that?
Yeah, we don't have to talk about it.
No, we
it's
do.
Like,
I want to. We're talking.
Well, it's just a show about pirates. It's like, it's cool. I like it a lot.
So it's a Japanese pirate show?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's really wacky and goofy and like, it's like just my kind of energy. I mean, I grew up on like SpongeBob. Yeah. You know, so it's like having characters like that are like crazy and like do weird stuff, but like never change. Also, it's like, that's kind of like my vibe, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, then there's also stuff like, has there ever been a live action show as big as Squid Games? From Japan? No, right?
Like, I don't think so.
I don't think so. Like that thing was huge. It was also kind of weird. I liked it, but there was like there was that storyline with the Indian guy that was kind of like, I don't think that you're being as like woke as you think you are.
I mean, being woke is a trap.
No, I know.
Yeah, it's. I mean, yeah, that's.
Do you want to speak to that?
No, not really. I mean,
because that was what you said was interesting, but I also don't want you to dig a hole for yourself.
Yeah, I don't want to get into
it. No, what I was speaking specifically to was that do you know the guy that like catches? Have you watched it?
Yeah, I watched it.
Yeah, the guy that catches him, he's kind of like a hero, but he's also kind of dumb. Or he's like, there's like a weird thing, like I don't know.
He's honorable.
He's honorable,
he's a very honorable man.
But he's not an equal.
Yeah, he's not equal, I guess.
Yeah. And that was a hard stick for me. But anyway.
I mean, when it comes to money, like we talk, you know, how are we going to talk about equality, you know, with money? Like it's kind of tough, you know, but.
Oh, I meant more in the fact that he was like the only non-Korean person on the show.
Like one of those things where like in older, like like Hollywood cinema, how the black dude would die first. It's kind of like that.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, I don't know.
And he's like somehow noble. Oh no, you're not
I
vibing
don't
with
know.
that. Okay.
I mean, like if him dying, the way he died like as an honest person and like a very, like.
Oh no, but I just mean the way that
he could have been gullible or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, he was very honest, and that's honorable. I think
fair enough.
to die like with like knowing that you.
Oh,
did
by the way,
thing.
spoilers for a show that came out months ago.
like a year ago almost. Yeah, I think that no, I think it's a.
You think it was fine?
I think it was fine.
Okay, cool, fair enough.
Yeah, I don't have. Yeah.
So you did. So well, then let's transition into that. You're obviously a black man. How was that being in Korea?
I watched so many videos of like what is it gonna be like for a black man in Korea? Like all and a lot of people. A lot of the videos, they were just kind of saying how safe it was and how the Black Lives Matter movement had happened and people were like, there was like rallies over there too. And people like kind of are like supportive and like not, there's not there. Everybody was like, it's a great place. And so I went and like, I was kind of worried. I was like nervous that maybe there's going to be like some people who would just like, just disapprove of me, like just essentialize me and be like no, but like everybody was pretty like accepting, and I like that a lot.
Did you get the thing that white guys do where they're like overly like accommodating? Which is innocent.
I wasn't like I didn't get any special treatment.
They weren't like black people are smart too.
No, it wasn't like that.
Because I've gotten that from a white person about Cubans.
Yeah,
like, I like someone to. You get weird ones where it's like, bro, I'm like,
I'm
practically white.
they're trying to be like nice, but it's overbearing. But like nobody was like that. It's
that's cool.
I was just a normal guy. One thing somebody told me, I forget like what the context of the conversation was. It was like whether or not I was gonna be like safe or something there, and. It was like, I think it was like, if somebody gets robbed or somebody gets shot or something like that, like, it's not that, like I'm not going to fit a description. You know what I mean? Like, nobody's going to be like, it was him, like we saw him do it, like, cause like, where I was, like, I stand out pretty like obvious. So it's like, I have like alibis for all the time, Okay. So it's like nothing was like I didn't feel like singled out or feel like I had to worry or anything like that when I was actually there. Yeah. And people really like they think black people are really cool. So
but not in a problematic way. Not like, give me 5.
I mean, there was one dude who wanted to give me a fist bump. He was like, yo. And like, I just ignored him. I was like, he must not be talking to me. Anyways. But it was like really nice. Like I felt like
It sounds like you almost didn't have to worry about it as much as when you're over here.
I really didn't.
Maybe like you're more politicized over here.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like, what part of me is like, I was thinking about the Black Lives Matter rallies that they were having there, and I was thinking like, I wonder who you rallying for? Like, if it's just like virtue signaling, like.
Over here or over there?
Over there, like if it was just kind of like, hey, we're progressive. Like, we appreciate black people. We think Black Lives Matter. Like, or like I don't know. Like, I was wondering, like, what could they do from there other than have this sort of like media presence that like they did care. But maybe it's just how they treat black people like on the daily that matters, and like having like having people rally just kind of shows that you do that you care or that you're aware of the situation at the bare minimum. Maybe you don't really encounter that many black people every day, but you sort of like, that that's happening over there. It's just kind of like an awareness thing.
Well, I mean, it's also one of those things that I think it's It was pretty outrageous. You know, we didn't have video of any of the other ones that have been big ones.
It's like, what is outrageous? Everything is outrageous. It's
no, but to actually see it.
Yeah, you
like
saw
that.
it in like we saw it. We've been seeing it. It's like people have recordings of it. It's like it's not
An 8-minute video. I'm sorry, bro. I think that video was like eye opening to a lot of people. I think you're right.
I agree with you. It's like
Eric Garner, the video was not as dramatic.
I mean, this is the thing. It's like I think that like those videos are important and like.
And we can move away from this. We've ended up. I was just asking you a casual question.
It's good. It's good. I think it's a good topic. I mean,
okay. I just don't want to make you talk about it. I don't want to be part of the people that politicize you in the U.S. You get what I'm saying?
I see.
But anyway, so go ahead. Sorry, what were you saying?
I was just saying that like I think that like those videos are important and they are outrageous, but then like the sheer number of them like is more outrageous than any single video. You know, then the videos that don't exist, you know, that people turn the police turn their camera off. Yeah. So it's like there wasn't anybody who had a phone that like was around to video. So there's like, it's like we center around those videos because they're like the most visible ones, but.
No, I 100% agree. I mean, we're not anywhere in the same place that we were at that time. I think people have kind of just moved on in a big way, in the sense of like, I think part of what I'm trying to convey, and I don't disagree with you, I think it's always outrageous. I think sitting there and watching, like I'm never going to watch that video again. Because I know how that video makes me feel. But I had to watch it once, right?
Yeah.
And it was the pace that I think, because it was just, you were just watching this thing where like it was happening and no one could stop it. It wasn't like a gunshot. It wasn't an instant.
Yeah, it's like,
yeah. I mean, you're not wrong. I'm not arguing you. But what I'm trying to, the reason that I said what I said and the way that I said it is that in the context of these people watching, you know, like that are so far removed, they don't interact with black people ever, you know, in Korea. I can understand how that made them want to fucking say something. Yeah. You know, you know, like that. I think it's a matter of humanity. That with that one, you couldn't escape.
Yeah, I mean, I get you. It also feels like a lot of like I feel two ways about it. I agree, but I also feel like it's a lot of thoughts and prayers. You know.
No, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, and like it
amounted to nothing.
I mean, it amounts to like what they do with every day if they get to meet somebody who's black or like, you know, encounter somebody who's, you know, that's where it like where it amounts to something. It's like how you actually sort of like think about the slogan, you know, Black Lives Matter, and like what you do, like what is that, you know, in every day.
Yeah.
You do. Yeah.
But then that goes into something that I was rudely awakened from, which is that sense of what are you doing on a daily basis? I also feel like, well, how much can a person do on a daily basis, right? So in a sense, that what am I doing on a daily basis is a cop out on the person's behalf. You know, like it's if I'm going like, well, I do this, this, and this. It's like I'm not really doing shit other than just being kind and respectful to people.
That's enough.
You think that's enough?
Yeah,
okay.
I think that's enough.
All right. You would know more than me.
Well, I'm not like the spokesperson for everybody, but like
no,
I'm here at this. Yeah, I'm in this room speaking, you know, and like being asked to speak. So like I think that like, yeah, just, you know, even if you just do your daily kindness to somebody, you know, like that's enough. I
agree. I feel like though that there's a compartmentalization in humanizing the black people of this country and the brown people of this country, and how can we like be an empire and be imperialists, bombing other countries, destabilizing them, and here I'm gonna turn myself down a little bit, and then purport to give a fuck about people at the same time. You get what I'm saying?
Well, but it's not like our individual like choice, you know. Like it's like
This is interesting.
Like this is my country, and I can do what I like. I can vote and I can exercise my rights, but there is a limit about what I can do, But then it's not my I didn't pull the it's one of those things where it's you didn't you stand by and let other people make decisions, which could be this thing that people you could think of as a hypocritical situation, a hypocritical position.
Hypocrisy is the least interesting argument of any of them to me, because we're all hypocrites.
Yeah,
but what you're saying is interesting. However, I feel like a lot of people, for example, we are very much a culture now that is okay with war, in a way where there is no anti-war movement in this country like there was during the Iraq War. We just take it for granted at this point. And I feel that's not necessarily a personal responsibility thing, but I feel like when you are, let's say, in a situation like we are now, where we are essentially complaining about January 6th people being Nazis or being white supremacists, and we're talking about white supremacy as a discourse in this country, but if we don't acknowledge that the country's attitude internationally is also white supremacist, I feel like that conversation is limited towards, well, we only care about Americans. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that I feel like one of the things that is crazy about how we treat people is that we're always dehumanizing. We dehumanize marginalized people, but we also dehumanize monsters, right? We're that's not human. And so we end up with this really distorted definition of what human means, right? Where it's human, you're only human if you're good, you're only human if where it's in reality, humans do bad shit to each other. And if we acknowledge that, and that's our starting point for the conversation, we can maybe try to mitigate that, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I don't disagree with you about it is important to be respectful and kind to everybody, right? And I do think that makes, on a macros level, it does make a difference. But I think if we're always supporting bombing people in Yemen and shit like that, and we have that's where the political side of things is hard for me. And then you end up with stuff people like Antifa, which I don't know, man. I am not pro-fascism, but the idea of punching Nazis to me is problematic because it is, in a sense, not trying to bring that person in, not trying to de-radicalize a person. It's just violence.
Yeah.
And I've seen some of the Antifa stuff. I saw the counter protest that they did with the women at the WeSpa. And it was fucking terrifying. And I was these guys aren't the good guys. They were just abusing this woman, So it's difficult to sort of. I guess what I'm expressing is my issue with the whole approach, which is why I think we both agree that there is a lot of it was virtue signaling. A lot of the Black Lives Matter support. Or do you not agree?
I agree. And I mean, it's kind of mirrored in the support for Ukraine and
I didn't want to bring it up, but I'm glad you did.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of seeing a lot of those flags around, and I think some people are actually, are raising money and doing really amazing things. But a lot, it seems like another kind of black square kind of thing. I'm not sure where I stand with that. I kind of feel I definitely don't support wars and and invasions. But it's what is the, then you start talking about, you had to talk about the U.S. and our own history with invasions and wars, and it's
our
it's
own
messy.
Involvement in this is pretty messy because we're basically there are people that say I don't know because I'm not over there, but there are people that say that he is invaded because Ukrainians were bombing Ukrainians that are called separatists, but they're not, their nationality is Ukrainian in the Donbass region. And so it gets very sticky, when you start to factor in our involvement. We overthrew their government in 2014. It's a very like our own involvement in all of this stuff is like, it's just exhausting. And to me, it's anyway, I mean, I think it's all an interesting conversation in terms of like, I think that people generally do mean well when they're virtue signaling. I think that they're not I think that it's not necessarily just to virtue signal, but also to feel good, like get the endorphins of like, I'm on the right side of something.
Right. Yeah.
But we just had the whole COVID thing, and people were like, don't do your own research. And it's like, well, then what fucking hope do we have?
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of those things where it's like, you don't know what's going to happen, or where people really stand, or what people really care about.
Yeah. I had no idea. I thought that's what I'm saying. I thought foreign policy was included in Black Lives Matter. And I didn't want to say it earlier when we were talking about how like there are African immigrants in South Korea, but like African immigrants are essentially the Mexicans of Europe and all these different places where they are living in countries that get abused by the global financial centers and all, colonialism. It's still alive there, right? Yeah. And they're fleeing that, and then we vilify them. And to me, that's not different than Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Right. I mean, like, I think that like there's not that much of a vilification in Korea of Black people, which is nice. And I think that's
amazing.
like,
yeah,
like, I think that's like the important takeaway,
No, that I'm
glad that they have this like sort of like outward facing, stance on Black Lives Matter. That's like, I think that made me feel more comfortable going there, and like,
well, they're literally saying that your life matters, and I mean, that's fucking validating as a human being.
Yeah, exactly.
like if someone tells me, hey, we've seen what's happening, and we're sorry, we like fucking care about you. Like, that's reassuring.
Yeah, it's like you shouldn't really like hold any suspicion in that way. You should be like as a pure person, you should be like accepting of that, and not like see it as anything else.
As like a microaggression, for example.
Right. Yeah. Which it's like.
How do you feel about that like dialogue? Do you feel like sometimes it can get a little bit too exhausting when everything has to be racist?
I mean, when you start thinking about everything in racialized terms, it definitely is it's definitely exhausting. And then you like sort of like, maybe you're not being like, you end up having like your own sort of prejudices, and maybe you're not like sometimes I like wonder, like, think, am I racist? Like, it's like there's like kind of like I remember hearing there's like some sort of like actual like, what is it called? Formula to see if you're racist. It's like, is it like, do you like, you kind of ask yourself about your own prejudices, and then prejudice. Sorry, and then you like, and then you ask yourself if you benefit from your own those prejudices.
I get you.
You get what I'm saying?
So like, if it's beneficial for you to believe certain things about people,
right?
That is actually a really good definition.
Yeah, it's pretty like straightforward in that way. Do you like what you? Yeah.
Now, how about this? What do you think about this? Because sometimes I have this experience where sometimes a thought pops into my head, and I'm like, where the fuck does that come from? Now, is it fair for me to be like disgusted by that thought and then be like, well,
wait, say that again? You said you have a
like, I'll think I'm being vague because I don't have a specific example.
Okay.
But I'm talking specifically in prejudicial terms, right? Uh-huh. Like I'll think of something and I'll be like, that's kind of fucked up that I thought of that. I don't actually, it's not a belief, but it's a thought. And I kind of I'm like, I feel like sometimes there are assumptions that you have that have gone unexamined.
Yeah, like where does that come from?
Where did you learn that?
Where did I learn that? Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
so that I'm not like copying out with my thinking in those terms.
No.
Okay.
Like these, there's something. There's always like we're not born racist. We learn that shit. So yeah.
There's like an analysis that has to happen. But anyway, I think that the more time goes on, the more I am aware that I don't know shit. And I'm trying to I'm trying to treat my own beliefs as not concrete, in the sense that because it's less exhausting to be like, well, that person's wrong.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like, I think I'm always somebody tells me something, I'm kind of like, oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. I rather learn more than assume that somebody knows, or that I know more than somebody or something. It's better. I think it's better that way. But just admitting to yourself you don't really know that much and you're ready to learn. Yeah.
Yeah. It's because otherwise I see some people just going off on Twitter and shit like that, and I've been guilty of that sometimes too, just ranting into social media. But man, I'm burnt out.
I don't have a Twitter, but and I'm also just not I don't know if I'm that kind of person that's showing what I like.
Well, you posted something that was funny.
What did I post?
You posted something about I'm not spamming. So,
oh yeah,
what was it?
It was
and I was guilty.
What's wrong, babe? You're not spamming your story. Yeah.
And I was called out.
Yeah, I like posting a bunch of images and dropping a bunch of images.
Yeah.
What I ate or what weird thing I saw or something like that. But
yeah.
That's from an observational standpoint. It's not from a sort of judgmental standpoint or telling people. I think that. I'm not
I mean, I definitely will call Joe Biden a white supremacist.
Okay.
On my stories. So it's a very different world that we have it.
I'm not
but I also think that I'm fucking Cuban, bro, and you can't. I dare you to meet a Cuban that's not somewhat political.
I see. Yeah.
And then anti-imperialist. Where do you think that comes from?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's I'm definitely invested in that, because there's a disruption in my family. I can't go and hang out with all my Cuban relatives easily. I've never met any of those people. It's just an interruption,
There was a time period just before COVID that you could have gone to. Did you go?
No, I figured it was over, so I would have time.
Yeah,
I didn't think Trump was going to come back and be nope. And then Biden was going to be
right?
This is so good. Biden came in and he was Trump was an asshole. But let's do a bunch of the shit he did.
Damn. I mean, I don't know. I don't have.
You don't have to get out there. I mean, I could show you the videos that would be very disappointing. But that dude had said some fucking racist ass shit. He said he didn't want his kids to grow in a racial jungle. He said it doesn't matter if society made black people violent. We need to keep our kids safe from them, away from your wife, my child. So.
Yeah. Okay.
He's a legislator. He said this on the fucking
It's politicians. I don't know. I saying one thing and then switching when because there was also the anti-lynching laws that just finally got put into law. So it's some stuff is actually that. Some stuff is happening. I don't know if it's just that was the kind of thing that I was looking at before the election of Joe Biden. It was all these during the debates, and black people kind of we support you, but don't fuck us over, Biden, we are looking at you, we want certain things and we don't want you to it was a lot of southern states with newly appointed black mayors, and they're kind of reaching out and giving their support to Joe Biden, but also kind of talking about these really staunch things that they wanted to happen, or the staunch views that they had. And some things I'm I think that are good that are happening. You know, like
Like what?
you know, like the anti-lynching law, and then like we having our first like Black Supreme Court justice. I mean, and like I don't know what other. I'm trying to think about like other stuff that like I don't know if it's like those like they're wins, they're W's, but they're like
we've had Sotomayor for so long that I don't even fucking care, bro.
Okay, I see.
I'm like, I get it. I get what you're saying.
It's more like those things that like
having a Latino doesn't change my life.
Yeah, that's true. I get what you're saying, and like even like I don't know. I think like having like symbolically anti-lynching law is like very like
no.
amazing.
I'm not going to argue
like,
with that.
I haven't heard of like that many lynchings in 2022, 2021. I mean, like,
can I give you a condescending fist bump for that? That was hilarious.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't like. Maybe there has, and I just don't know about it. So I don't want to like, but I just don't. I don't know.
Well, you think
so it's more like it's like it still feels like a win that we need, like a symbolic win, but like, it might be like a symbolic thing rather than like a. But like it's important to a lot of people. So it's just as important as like the 13th Amendment being, taken away. Like I think that like if we can.
That's like, the one about Well, you can explain. I just wanted for the listener who doesn't have American history in their head.
Yeah,
can you explain what the 13th Amendment is?
It's just like slavery is abolished, but like if you steal or you get caught and you got to go to jail, then like slavery is kind of okay. That's kind of like what the like. And
it's almost like we're just doing this low key now. It's not just like it's okay. It's like we're just going to arrest the same people that we used to enslave.
Yeah, exactly. And then actually profiteer off of it and like make huge businesses and like but like
and who is responsible for a lot of that?
No, I don't know. Who's responsible? Who you want to say? Who you want me to say? What are you trying to plan?
I'm not trying to plan. I'm just letting you know. Joe Biden.
Got you. I mean, like, I don't know.
Joe Biden is no friend to the Black person, bro. It is a crazy branding exercise that I've witnessed with this shit. Like the kids are still in cages. You're just not allowed to fucking videotape them. It's a fucking crazy space. And I'm not and dude, like I'm not bashing your opinion. This conversation is coming from a place of like I don't know shit, but what you brought up is very important, and because this is the position of this show, which will eventually get it canceled. But
I was like, this is like a political show, man. You should be like, this is like a political interview, right?
No. This it just I wanted to veer away from it. We can talking about this. We're about to end anyway. We're wrapping this up. We're at like an hour and 10 minutes, so I'm not going to take any more time. I think it's good. It's like I don't really talk politics that much with anybody.
No,
so. I know, and a lot of times, to be fair, it is unfair for me to have these conversations with people because I've read a lot about the things that I direct the conversation towards. Right, like you didn't choose to talk about imperialism, I did, so it's unfair.
Got you. I see.
Like I'm directing the conversation into stuff that I've well researched. So don't feel like you're out of like I respect your opinion. Mm-hmm. I have my own, and you give me insights, right? Mm-hmm. Because like the thing that I during Black Lives Matter started saying, which I think is very true. It is outrageous that Black people get shot at the numbers that they do. And I think the reason it is okay is because of the 13th Amendment. Because if you're trying to round up property and you hurt the property, if we're still we're speaking, I know these are offensive terms, but we're speaking in chattel slavery terms, right? Mm-hmm. If you kill a slave, is not the end of the world because his property is not a human being. Mm. If you kill somebody that you're trying to round up because you don't think of them as anything more than somebody that's a potential criminal, it's okay to kill them because they're not human, which goes to that whole dehumanization. I think serial killers are human. I think war crimes are human. And I think that marginalized people.
They're just good old boys that like didn't,
No, exactly.
Just hurt. They're bullied. Like it's kind of, that's the more of the PR like argument.
What do you mean they're bullied?
Like, like mass shooters are just like good kids that just got bullied a lot.
Oh yeah,
And,
yeah.
like, yeah.
No, but actually, specifically Columbine, those guys were serial killers. Like that, those guys were gonna fucking. I mean, that is a perfect example of that. Klebold and whatever his name was, but
I
yeah,
don't remember the fucking names.
I'm a true crime nerd too.
Okay.
We could have done that. We just would have talked murder instead of murder. All right, man. Well, we don't have to keep doing this.
Okay.
I really appreciate you. You worried about not having stuff to talk about, but this has been delightful.
All right, for sure.
I definitely want to do it again before you got in August because you're a very insightful person, and it's healthy for me to talk to non-political people sometimes.
Got you. I feel it.
Do you feel weird about anything that's happened in this conversation?
It's
Okay.
good.
All right. Cool.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, man.
I appreciate.
And then everybody should check you out where?
At I mean, I don't have a website or anything. I mean, you just follow me on Instagram.
And what's your Instagram?
It's Blessed One, but it's spelled BLESTWUN. So it's like, it's just misspelled. But you follow me on Instagram and like come to the show. You can follow In Lieu Gallery to get more information.
What time is the show? Or when's the show?
The shows are open. It opened on the 9th and it's going until May 14th.
All right.
What's it called? The gallery hours are Wednesday through Saturday from like 11 to 5.
Okay.
So it's kind of...
You guys got crazy hours. We do we only do 2 days a week.
Okay. 4 days. It's like 4 days a week. So you have a chance to come check it out.
Nice.
Come through.
All right. And I'm Javier. So signing off. Thank you guys for checking us out. We'll see how he feels after about this conversation a couple days from now.
Yeah, right. I got to hear the recording.
It's fine. It was tame. You didn't say anything wrong. You just associated with a fucking lunatic.
Oh my God.
We'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much.
Peace.